The layman often regards Spidey's black suit as just one singular suit, the Symbiote Suit. But surprisingly, the old webhead has actually had a lot of different black costumes, especially if you start counting alternate universes and realities. So today, because I'm a fanatic and have a couple black costumes of my own, and Halloween's just around the corner, I figured I'd share my top 5 black Spider-Man costumes with you all. Before we start, I suppose I should go over what I constitute as a black suit. I'm only going to count a suit as a black suit if the bulk of the color, or technically lack thereof, is black. So as much as I love the Flash Thompson What If suit, the Negative Zone suit, and the Assassin Spider-Man suit, I'm going to have to discount all of those because half of their designs are taken up by a color other than black. And I'm not going to count concept designs, so they're just concepts and not something officially worn by any Peter Parker, whether it be in a game or other media. It also goes without saying, but I'm limiting this list to Peter's suit specifically. There are a lot of other people with black Spider-Man costumes like Miguel O'Hara, Miles Morales, and even Aaron Davis, but today I really wanted to just focus on Peter Parker and Peter Parker variants to keep things simple. Plus, like most of Miles' costumes are black, and there's a debate to be had on whether Miguel's standard costume is black or blue. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. Number 5. Coming in at number 5, we have the Dark Suit. First introduced to us in Spider-Man and Deadpool number 8. I really dig this suit, specifically the comic version. I think Insomniac did a pretty good job adapting the suit, but I still think the comic version is better. It's just so sleek and simple. I really think less is more when it comes to costume design, and I think this one perfectly encapsulates that. The logo is striking and different from anything I feel like we had seen before, and the addition of the Black Widow emblems on the palm is a really nice touch, even if that symbol feels synonymous with another character of the same name. This suit also has the added bonus of feeling like the original concept design for the first black suit, with the thorax of the spider being a similar shape. Number 4. The black and gold suit. Now I know I'm going to get some flack for this one because some people don't consider it a different suit since it's technically just the Far From Home suit inside out. But I mean, if you're going to argue that, then the Ninja Spidey and Cyborg Spidey aren't separate costumes either. I honestly thought this suit was the inner lining of the Far From Home suit anyways, not the suit just inside out. The former just made more sense to me, but fine, whatever. I don't really get the hate on this suit. I think it's neat looking and ties into that Parker resourcefulness. Black and gold is just such a good color combination, and minus the exposed wiring and other elements, it's pretty much just the Homecoming suit in a different color scheme. I don't know, I guess some people find this design lazy, but I don't know if I'd say that. There's a ton of detail packed into it, and sure, the concept is simple, but that's not really anything new for Spider-Man. Like the aforementioned ninja suit is literally just black and gray strips of fabric haphazardly wrapped around Spidey's body. But then again, I guess nobody's saying that's a cool suit either. Maybe I view this suit too much from a cosplayer and suit actor perspective. When I look at this suit, I see something that can easily be made to look high-end on the cheap. Like, if you order this thing off a print costume or wherever, it'd be super easy to glue old wires and bits of rubber to it to really sell the illusion. Heck, lights would be fairly easy too, because you just have to glue the wiring directly down to the suit. No need to, try and conceal them. Anyways, I just think this is a cool, kind of eye-catching design, especially when lined up with the other MCU suits. Number 3. I don't know why I did that. So picking my third favorite black suit was actually a lot harder than I expected. But after some humming and ahhing, I'm going to have to go with the big time suit, specifically as it appears in Spider-Man PS4, or Insomniac's version of it. I've always kind of dug this suit, but it wasn't until the PS4 game that I really started to like it. Something about the way Insomniac adapted it just really made it hit harder for me. Even the color choice. I used to prefer the blue variant, but after playing the game, I found myself actually preferring the green version. I guess maybe because it's just different. You don't really see Spidey donning any green. I don't know. I love all the materials that they were able to work into the design without it feeling overkill. It all feels like it perfectly fits with one another. It's not my favorite black suit of all time, obviously, but it's not the bottom of my list clearly either. It's somewhere in the middle. It's solid. Number 2. SpiderMan Noir. I'm hard-pressed to name a specific version of this suit, but I think I'd probably have to go with the one in Shattered Dimensions. Insomniac's version is great too, but I think Beanox's take is just more iconic, and it's honestly the version of the suit I think of when someone says noir. followed by the comic appearance. It's pretty much a one-to-one adaptation of the original concept sketches for that suit. In fact, the only changes to the design is in the mask. The Shattered Dimensions version of it is a lot simpler, and is the design that most costume-making companies base theirs off of. They also took the liberty of adding a spider logo to the back of the vest, which is a smart call, and it's really cool that it's just black, like the vest, but because it's made of a different material, when it catches the light, you're able to see it. In the original comics, SpiderMan Noir doesn't wear a vest. Heck, he only wears a hat for like the first issue. The design in a lot of ways is actually simpler. Both are great, and both are my favorite versions of the suit, with Insomniac's being a close third. But like I said, I would have to give it to the Beanox version because it is just so iconic. And it's the look that most people were introduced to the character with. Well, until Into the Spider-Verse came out. Now you're screwed no matter which version you cosplay. Someone will either not know who you are or tell you got the costume wrong. And the number one pick for my favorite black suit is going to be SpiderMan Supreme. Or aka the Alien Reality, however you want to call it. SpiderMan Supreme is a Spider-Man that doesn't actually appear in a comic. Much like a lot of the great Spider-Man suit designs, it appears on the cover of Symbiote Spider-Man the Alien Reality number 4, and that's it. Or at least, it was. Until just a few weeks ago when they announced that SpiderMan Supreme would be joining Marvel's Contest of Champions, thusly allowing it to be included as my number 1 spot on this list without breaking any of my established rules. I love this design, more specifically the comic version, but the Contest of Champions version doesn't stray too far. I think it looks great in its own right, I just prefer the logo of the comic version. Now, technically speaking, I guess I should only be allowed to include the Contest of Champions version, so I'll focus talking about that version, which again is still solid and would still be my number 1 pick anyways, so it's fine. Something about the color combination of the black and yellow with the iconic Doctor Strange cape is just so cool to me and so eye-catching. I've loved this thing since I first saw it years ago on that comic cover. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a costume design expert like probably Spidey or something and break down why everything works in great detail. I just know I see it, I like it. Of all the Doctor Strange Spider-Man mashups, this is easily the best one in my opinion. Like I said, I don't know that I can really pinpoint exactly why I love this design so much, but I'll give it a shot. I enjoy Spider-Man designs that break from the norm, so something like this is right up my alley. It's just so different from anything we've really seen Spidey wear before. Sure, we've had Spider people with capes. Peter himself has even worn one a couple of times. Usually in those cases, the cape is either super generic or really simple. With this being Doctor Strange's cape, it's already really iconic. And rather than just slapping it on him and calling it a day like they did with the Zombie Hunter suit, they actually incorporated elements of Doctor Strange's costume into Spidey's design itself, without going like overboard. The only improvements I'd maybe suggest, specifically in the case of the games version of this suit, is the adjustment of the top and bottoms of the spider logos, as they're just a little too blocky for my taste. I'd also remove the frames from around the lenses. You know what, just make it look like the comic cover, okay? Just do that. Though I will say that the comic version does look sort of like the top and the bottom of the suit are two separate pieces, mimicking more of the look Doctor Strange's outfit, which I think is really cool, but I will say that I do think the game improved upon this aspect of the suit by just making a simple bodysuit design for Spider-Man. I think the two separate pieces, while yes, it plays into that Doctor Strange motif more, I think that's maybe just a little bit too much since he already has the boots and the gloves and the cape plus the Eye of Agamotto and the sash. It's kind of like, at that point, it feels too much like a Doctor Strange costume maybe. So ditching that idea and making it just one spandex suit, that was an improvement. So there you have it, my top 5 alternative black suits for Spider-Man. But while I'm here, I figured I'd give you guys a couple honorable mentions. These suits would have made the list, but for one reason or another weren't eligible for inclusion. First off, we have the Punisher suit. This one's a little tricky because you could argue that technically this isn't a Spider-Man costume. It's a Punisher costume. Because in this universe, Peter Parker never took on the mantle as Spider-Man. He only ever goes by the Punisher. So as much as I wanted to include it, I decided not to. I think most people in the community would agree that given the character is Peter Parker, it counts. But I'd argue the opposite could be said too. I guess the suit falls under the same category as something like the Dusk suit, so that's why I didn't include it. Another honorable mention is the original concept design for the black suit. Like I said earlier, I didn't want to include concept designs because that sort of opens the floodgates up, so I decided not to include them. But had I decided to, the suit definitely would have been high up the list. I really love this design. I mean, I love it so much that I had it made for myself. I know they did finally sort of work this suit into the comics through the self-improvement issue, but they honestly butchered the design in my opinion. By trying to make it different with the larger gaps between the legs and changing up the shape of the spider itself, it almost doesn't even look like the same design. The eyes are even bigger. Which, I mean, I guess I understand. They wanted it to stand out from the original black suit, but the original design of the black suit isn't even the sort of classic design of the black suit anymore. When you think of the black suit, you think of the one that's more rectangular and blocky. You don't really think of the one with the teardrop bottom. So to me, it's a little bit of an unnecessary change. Anyways, another suit I wanted to make mention of was the Renew Your Vows suit. It almost made the list. It's really just the standard black suit design, but with the classic style logo on the back instead. But I like that. It really helps to better differentiate it from the Symbiote suit by having a clear identifiable difference. I used to think you could tell the difference between the two by looking at the pattern on the back of the hands, but it turns out you can't. I didn't know until more recently that the pattern on the back of the hands for the Symbiote suit were always rounded triangles. I had thought that it was something that they intentionally added to the black suit to help tell it apart from the Symbiote suit. But no, the original design doesn't have the now iconic rectangles on the back of the hands. It has the rounded triangles, which I didn't realize. And it's funny because the Symbiote Spider-Man series, which is canon to the main timeline, the pattern is almost a freaking oval. It's not even on the hands anymore. It starts at the wrists. So, I don't know. Point is, I like the Renew Your Vows black suit because it adds a clear difference between it and the symbiote version. Anyways, that's going to be it from me, guys. This video is long enough as is. So, let me know your top 5 black suits down below. Are there any obscure ones that you guys like? And as always, comment, subscribe, because how else am I going to get the attention I so desire? I'm kidding. Anyways, until next time, face front, true believers.